Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and welcome to kind of October fall favorites. I haven't filmed in a really long time. I have one video that may or may not be going up before this, and so I'll have a little bit of explaining to do because you'll see why in a minute. Anyways, so over the fall I tried a lot of new products. I've rediscovered some of my old products. And yeah, so this is a bunch of fall favorites. A bunch of these are products that are all the same kind of product, but I've been enjoying a lot of them. And yeah, let's just jump in and talk. I have quite a few products to talk about, but it shouldn't take forever to get through all of them. So yeah, let's start with some eyeshadow palettes. So I've really been enjoying two specific eyeshadow palettes. I've been using them together and even separately, and there's just specific reasons why I've been liking these two palettes lately. The first one, which is part of the one where I think I have some explaining to do, because I mentioned this in my other video that will be going up either before this or probably just with this video. This is the Tartelette in Bloom palette. Now, I just filmed a video about kind of disappointing products or products that I just wasn't a fan of, and I did mention this, but since then, I've been using it differently. And I actually used it for the eye look that I did today. Today I did just a really nice bronzy blended crease look using a lot of these shadows together, and I really, really liked it. So, I mean, I think the one reason I wasn't liking this is because I was trying to use Funny Girl all over my lid, but since I am so fair, it wasn't really popping enough for me. But now, I kind of just have been sticking to these shades today, and I really, really enjoy the look that I got. So I've been using this a lot, and yeah, I'll probably be using this a lot more this fall and into the winter. So yeah, that's one of my favorites. Let's talk about the other eyeshadow palette that I've really been enjoying. Well, if I sound sniffly, I'm a little congested, so yeah, excuse that. The other palette is my Lorac Pro palette. Now, the reason why I've been enjoying this is because I've really been enjoying the shade White for all over the lid. I use this just to make my eyelid in the inner corner pop a little bit more, but I didn't want to shimmer. I wanted it to be nice and matte. And when you're fair like me, it's hard to find, you know, that lid shade or that shade that's just going to pop a little bit more because you're so fair that there's nothing really pale enough or bright enough for you. So I've really been enjoying the color White just for kind of dabbing it on my lid just to kind of make it stand out a little bit more from my other shadows. Then, I've really been enjoying using Nude and Champagne to kind of be like a lid shimmer topper. I'll use maybe a cream shadow on it, and then I'll put these on just to make that shimmer really pop, and I've really been enjoying that palette for that. Alright, now I want to talk about quite a few foundations. There are 4 total, but I will kind of explain them as I go. Let's start with one that I'm pretty sure I mentioned in my last favorites video, although that was a couple of months ago, maybe even 3 or 4 months ago. It's been a really long time since I filmed, but it's the combination that I'm actually wearing today, and I love it. Alright, so it is the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte Foundation mixed with the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea. The reason why I like this is because the L'Oreal foundation, whoa, excuse me, after I drop it. Okay, so the L'Oreal foundation has really, really good coverage, and I love it. However, when it gets into the fall and closer to the winter, my skin gets just a little bit too dry for it, but I still love the coverage. But when I mix it with the Tarte foundation, it's just heaven. This gives me the consistency and the finish that I want, but this just helps mix with this. This is a little pink undertoned. This is more neutral. Together, I think they make kind of my perfect shade, or very close to perfect. Hopefully you can see these. I don't even know if I'm keeping them in the frame, but I'm sorry if I'm not. I'll figure it out in editing. Then we'll answer that question up above. Anyways, so these together, I love the coverage and I love the consistency and finish. So together, they're still matte on my skin, but it's much more comfortable matte than just straight up matte. Because this by itself, it's just a lot runnier. It reminds me of the consistency of the Urban Decay Naked Foundation, although I haven't used that in a really long time. Part of me wants to purchase it again just to be sure, because I know I loved that foundation, but since I got rid of it, I just tried a bunch of others. Anyway, back to the video. I love these in combination, and it's the foundation combination I'm wearing today. Let's talk about some more. Alright, this first one is one that's pretty new to me. I don't know if I mentioned it or not in my last video. I can't remember. But it's the L'Oreal Visible Lift Blur Foundation. Now this foundation is so interesting. I have it in the lightest shade 201 Light Ivory. Oh, you can actually see it. Cool. Anyways, this foundation is so interesting to me. I just squeeze it out of my hand, and even though my skin is dry, this is ever so slightly too dewy and it almost feels greasy on me. But if I apply this with a damp sponge, I absolutely love it. It makes my skin look really smooth. It's not too drying and it's not too dewy. It's like the Beauty Blender just takes up all the excess moisture out of it, and this doesn't settle into my fine lines. It makes my skin look really smooth. It looks nice throughout the day, so it doesn't settle throughout the day as badly as some foundations. It doesn't get as cakey as some foundations. I don't know what it is, but I only like applying it with a Beauty Blender or some kind of sponge. And if I do it that way, I absolutely love this foundation for kind of evening out my skin. Sometimes I'll build it up a little bit, but it's just been a really nice foundation. Alright, the last foundation that I'm going to talk about is one that I love the finish it gives my skin. So yeah, that's why it's one of my favorites. This is the Makeup Forever HD or Ultra HD foundation stick. I wonder if you could hear that truck outside or not. And anyway, so this foundation, I have the shade that looks like this. I don't know why I showed you that. I have this in the shade R230. I can't tell if this is ever so slightly too dark for me or not, but I love how it applies on the skin and how it sits on the skin. I just have to make sure I don't apply too much or else it will look heavy and cakey. But it does a really beautiful job of evening out the skin, but looking so much like skin, a lot like this one, but this one has more of a satiny finish on me. Now, I wanted to get a lighter shade because I feel like this is ever so slightly dark, but I was really sad because I went on Sephora and Makeup Forever, and I don't know if they discontinued those lighter shades, but I don't see them anymore, which kind of upsets me. But anyway, I've been really enjoying that foundation stick. Okay, last foundation type product I want to talk about, more like a setting powder for me, but I'm pretty sure it is a powder foundation. It's the MAC Studio Fix Plus Powder Foundation in the shade NW15. I have been loving this for setting all over my face because it will just set my makeup if it's ever so slightly tacky. It adds a little bit of coverage and it makes me feel so smooth and even. I use this on my forehead today and just on my chin to kind of add a little bit extra coverage and really set my makeup. And I always powder my chin kind of, and this also like ever so slightly brightens the skin, which I also really like. But this powder, it just makes your skin look so smooth and full coverage, and I just really enjoy it. I just use a large fluffy powder brush and just kind of dab it wherever I want it. But if you needed to touch, where is it? You could use a little sponge down here, which I've used a couple of times, but you don't have to use that. But I've been really enjoying this powder for all over my face, just because in the fall I like that more full coverage look and that bright matte look, and it just looks really nice on the skin. Okay, the last products I want to talk about are either a blush, a highlight, or a contouring product. I'm going to talk about my blushes first. I have two blushes I want to talk about. The first one is one of my e.l.f. Pressed Mineral blushes in the shade Sweet Retreat. And I just like this blush because it's just a nice, even though it's getting slightly washed out, it's just a nice pink everyday blush that you can honestly wear with anything, any makeup look, and it looks good. I'm not wearing it today, but I am wearing another blush I'm going to talk about. But this is just the blush I've been grabbing if I just want to quickly throw a little bit of blush on and call it good, and it looks good with everything. Enough about that. Alright, the next blush is my Hourglass blush in Mood Exposure. It's the blush I'm wearing today. And I just love this blush. It almost reminds me of e.l.f.'s Mellow Mauve a little bit, except way more high-end and way more expensive. But it's just really nice. Now, I do use a light hand with this, so I'll just barely swirl my brush, tap it off, then like barely touch my skin as I'm buffing it on my cheeks just to make sure I can build up the color to the intensity that I want to. But I have really been enjoying this blush. It looks really great with fall makeup looks, and I've just been loving it. Alrighty. Let's talk about kind of a contour highlight product, but in all of these products, I'm talking specifically about the highlight. Lately, I've really been enjoying, even though okay, so the light reflects off my highlights way more, so they look way more intense, but I promise these highlights are more subtle than it shows on my cheeks right now in my video, just because my lights are bouncing off. But I've really been enjoying just applying a light hand with my highlights, so I still have that glow, but it's a lot more subtle on the skin. So, the first one I'm going to talk about is the Highlight in the Sleek Contour Face Kit. Yes. And it is just this kind of like peachy champagne highlight, and it's what I'm wearing today. Again, I did build it up a little bit, but the light is making it look way more intense than it really, really is. But this is just kind of a nice, subtle champagne-y pink highlight. Oh, there we go. You can kind of see it. So that's kind of what it looks like. It's very, very subtle, but it's not so subtle that it's like just satiny matte. It does have that glow to it, but it's definitely buildable. Now, one that's very similar is the Wet n Wild Fergie highlight. I used to talk about this a lot. I haven't lately, but I've been really enjoying it. It's got more of a pinky undertone, as you can clearly tell. And I like to either apply this with my finger or with a brush. Again, this is very subtle. This is my most subtle highlight that I own, but I really, really enjoy it. And last but not least is my Laura Geller Baked Portofino highlight. I love this because it's that white gold highlight. It's very beautiful. I can either just pat it on with my fingers and blend it, and it looks nice and subtle, or I can build it up. But I've just been really enjoying that highlight as well. Alright, that is everything for this video. I really hope you enjoyed watching. Give it a thumbs up if you do. And if you have not, if you're just seeing this channel for the first time, please subscribe down below. And if you are subscribed, thank you so much for subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!